Hi there, welcome back to the Noah Presgrove case, looking at the latest news and discussions on the matter. Today, I'm going to share with you quite a shocking finding, and it's to do with the homeowner and one of their recent responses to people on Facebook. Some of you will already be aware that the homeowner of where the party took place, they've said some questionable things already, and I will be reiterating those points later today, so make sure to stick around, and especially for those that have not seen the original video. Welcome to everyone who may be here in this live premiere. I want to know your reactions and thoughts on this finding because it is quite shocking, maybe a little bit disturbing, depending how you interpret it. Be sure to let me know in the live chat box on the right hand side of the screen and share your discussions. Anyone in general though, and if you do have theories or questions you want to elaborate, leave your comments down below under this video. It does help and more people can learn and talk about a range of different thoughts as to what's going on within the Noah Presgrove case. If you haven't already and you want to catch up on some of my previous videos, after watching this one, top right corner of the screen where the I symbol is, if you click on that, you will be able to find the new playlist which I've created to do with all the videos of Noah Presgrove from my channel. So it makes it easier for you to navigate and go through it bit by bit if you need to catch up on previous videos. I've seen new people coming on in, which is good to see. Keep that flow going. It's mostly positive, which is really good. The odd negative person, but they come from elsewhere, okay? No need to worry. But for any new people, if we do hit some bumpy patches with some questionable humans, people I've come across before in the past, I'll let you know about it so you are aware and you know how to deal with things, just to save time and reduce any conflict, because it's important to be serious when it comes to the Noah Presgrove case. And speaking of a level of being serious, that's how it seems to come off from the homeowner. The context, the order of how we're going to do things today is begin with some additional details which need to be updated via the usage of my Google Earth map project. Apply it visually. Some of you will remember when we're looking at the dirt road, the street which led down to the house party zone, there's a couple of other buildings nearby. That's kind of been cleared up now, so I'm going to apply that in just a second. And then once I've done the little map analysis update, then we can transition on to the latest conversation from Facebook from the point of view of the homeowner. And as said, it's kind of shocking. So I do advise you to stick around to fully understand this, and we will get to it, and it will even surprise you. But right now, let's head on over to the maps. Here we are. So we don't need to focus too much in all the other markers except with the blue ones down the street here, as you see the road highlighted in a purple line. If you are interested though in a full map analysis, or at least the events leading up to the death of Noah Presgrove, that's already available on my channel. If you click top right corner of the screen, the playlist icon, you'll find the video there, and it is easy to find. What I do want to say is, and it's only just come to realization now for me because I don't remember it looking like this like yesterday or whenever I last went on Google Earth, but has the satellite imagery updated all of a sudden, unexpectedly? Because it just looks different in colour. You know, the grass green and luscious, the surrounding land. Last time I checked, and last time I did my video, the first time on this area, you saw it wasn't all green. There was some patches and there was dirt as well. The land, it was quite dry. Has that changed since? Because it does look different in colour. Anyone in the chat, let me know, has the satellite imagery updated unexpectedly? And I wonder why. I mean, do I remember that patchy bit there? Not really. Do I remember this bit here? Not that I can remember. We're just going slightly off subject, well, not off subject, just on a different matter, because this was kind of unexpected. Yeah, that is different because when I did my map analysis a few days ago, whilst, yeah, the RV trailer appears to still be there, that one looks grey, whereas when I did it at the time, it was white. So maybe the shadow been casted or the sunlight in a different angle. Weird. And the other one that stands out to me is here. Now, do I remember there was a vehicle parked outside? Not that what I can remember. I mean, if there's one now all of a sudden, then clearly it's been taken on a different day and it's more up to date. The one thing that does stand out to me clearly is round the back of the house. So if you remember me saying, round the back, it looked like there was a circular object, almost like a trampoline. Well, when looking now, it's not there. It's gone, taken away. So I do think with a high level of confidence that this satellite imagery has been updated. It's just a coincidence how it's only been updated just after I did my map analysis. It's a good thing I documented how it looked beforehand, right? Anyone in chat, anyone watching right now, let me know your thoughts, because it does look different. It does look more updated. It has changed, but why? Is it just coincidental timing? You wonder what the black dots are? Likely cattle, okay? Animals. Even this one here, it's a lot clearer to see now and more open. Clearly, there's a house there and some other buildings nearby, whatever that is. Well, if that's the case, does that look any different? Kind of hard to tell, right? What else do we have? Does that look any different? Not from the looks of it. It does look clearer though. The area of Noah Presgrove, no, you wouldn't be able to tell anyway. But nah, it just looks different. That's very interesting, that. Talk about the timing of it. Would the street view imagery be any different? Let me just have a quick check right now. No, still the exact same. Okay, so you see the house, the building, the shed just there, and like a shed or a barn back there. That building's the top of the street. Then further down that way, midsection, you got the party house and the homeowner that owns it. And way off into the distance down the bottom of the dirt road, you got another building where I said that RV trailer was at. Now, the whole reason of doing this update, besides the whole satellite imagery changing unexpectedly, recently people were talking about how there was no locals living nearby, and I asked the person, why is that the case? What about these buildings as we see on screen, top of the street and down at the bottom? Who owns them? And the commenter responded back and said, the same person or the same people that own the party house. So all the buildings you see down this single dirt road belong to the same person. If that's the case, why? And what are these other buildings used for? Farming? Storage? I mean, it looks clear that there is a house there. And then further down, way down to the bottom, there appears to be a house and even a trailer where someone would probably be living in. How many people of this family actually live down this road? Does anyone have any exact numbers? So you got the homeowner, you've got the CC, I keep forgetting the name, Carter Combs, and then who else? Who else lives down here? If anyone knows, if you could create like a bullet point list in the comment section, in the comment section under this video, that would be helpful, okay? Just to fill in the blanks so we get a full idea. And I will zoom out once again, just so people who are watching, who may have just joined right now, welcome. Just a quick overview of the satellite imagery. If you haven't already known, basically satellite imagery has updated to more present time compared to a few days ago of what we were looking at. Coincidence or not, interesting. Vehicle, looks like that's been added. probably because the homeowner, whoever is at home at that time, and then round the back the trampoline has disappeared, or whatever that was. And that's pretty much it. As for the buildings, this is owned by the homeowner of the party house, and this building too, the house there, owned by the party owner house. Question is, who lives there? Does anyone? And does anyone live there? Extended family, other family, friends of friends? How many people live down this street? What is, if you're excluding the party which occurred back in 2023, as for a regular day-to-day occurrence, what's the total population of people that live down this dirt road? If you can reveal it and the names in an appropriate way, that'll be appreciated in the comments section. Okay, so you can see the pattern and the themes emerging around the homeowner. Okay, that own a fair bit of land, that own multiple buildings. Are they successful? I have no clue. But what's their mindset, their attitude like on the Noah Presgrove case? As we've seen previously, it's not been too good. It's been a little bit negative, questionable, suspicious, and it's only got worse now. So everybody watching, brace yourself. It's time to reveal. As we begin, this is just a bit more context behind it all, just so you know the situation. Credit to Reddit, credit to the individual on here that reposted it, which was from Facebook, and it was a public comment, so it's all under control there. What I do want to say in advance, when we do look at the comment, you may wonder the theme. Why are names blurred out or censored? That's only because of the rules on Reddit. If people didn't censor them, subreddits and pages could be shut down for not following the rules and regulations. So it sounds kind of bad, but there's no choice about it. But if you are interested in trying to locate it all, it does come from Facebook somewhere, and the names won't be censored. Just as a heads up. So this person, Cheap, says, a little more context. This is also a post made in the Noah's Army Facebook group from the homeowner of where Noah was partying right before his death. It was her daughter's birthday party weekend, Labor Day weekend, 2023 to be exact. And I believe the daughter was around 22 years of age, but the people she invited to her party were 17, 18, 19, some underage people. And if we're talking about the daughter's birthday, is that CC's birthday, Carter Combs? Because I believe when I asked last time, they were saying how Carter Combs lives there. And what we're looking at right now is the homeowner, so one of the parents, I'm assuming, the mother or the father. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if I've got it slightly mixed up. That's welcome for criticism. Just let me know down below. But, you just get the idea of where things are at. As for the homeowner wasn't present during the party, and when Noah was there, the homeowner was out somewhere doing whatever. But alcohol was supplied to people at the party at least, and towards younger individuals, minors, and those that have been tagged along who weren't exactly welcomed or invited from the homeowner's point of view. So a bit of a free-for-all. Take in mind, yesterday we saw that comment by that guy called Joseph, who's been labelled as possibly autistic. That's just a characteristic from what I remember from last night's discussions. A person called Joseph, who's been helping police or FBI on other cases. Somewhat questionable, but built a rapport with Jack Newton, the best friend of Noah. And Jack Newton having a girlfriend, I believe the girlfriend being called CC, Carter Combs. So you see some of the links established there. Joseph trying to get answers out of Jack, and a range of stuff has come out since, but I just wanted to bring that up. And it was Joseph that directly said to Jack that he feels that CC, Carter Combs, needs to be held accountable and charged with supplying minors, underage people, alcohol, and possibly being the main cause or reason as to the death of Noah Presgrove. So a little bit intense that. Now, I wonder what the homeowner would think of that situation. Well, we'll see with time. There are a few more responses by people with this post and this page. We'll get to that later. But let's directly look at what that homeowner had to say recently. As said, on the public page of Noah Presgrove's Army from Facebook, it's all publicly viewable and likely the one that's been posted here with the username. For Reddit reasons and you know, following the rules, it's got to be blurred out, but you can see it publicly on Facebook. Now, let's zoom in just a bit, just to make it easier for you to read. Top contributor. So what we're reading right now is from what the homeowner had to say. How recent is it? Not too sure, but it has been found a couple of days ago, so it is somewhat relevant and significant, okay? And people are shocked by it. So the homeowner says, in response to whoever, sorry to hear about your sister and that your dad had to endure that. Most of the time, it is not left up to family. I was the first responder on the department for a long time, and we always took care of that. As a process that's supposed to be taken in times like this. So maybe this is somebody who's had a similar experience in the past, and then this homeowner is relating and showing some form of sympathy by saying sorry to hear about it. This homeowner says, I was the first responder on the department for a long time. So just in the area, giving a bit of history as to who they are. Now we scroll down, they end up saying, and may I suggest doing a quick search of Google Earth? You can see the spot in which some refer to as blood. What? No, you can't. When I did it at the time and I used supposedly the correct, accurate coordinate, and that was some days ago before the satellite imagery magically changed, you couldn't see blood. Now, the only thing I could possibly think of as to why the homeowner is saying that if you look on Google Earth, you can see where the blood spot is, which is questionable, would be through Google Earth Pro. Now, I myself will test it later on or tomorrow, and I will report back on YouTube to let you know if I did find anything. If I didn't, I probably won't give an update, or I might just forget, just as a heads up there, okay? But yeah, the reason why there's a small chance you could see something of interest relevant to the case, even though it was back in 2023, is because on Google Earth Pro, you can go back in time through the different years, and sometimes you can go through it by the months. Depends how many times satellite imagery captured the area during that year. Multiple months or just one. Sometimes it covers multiple months, and other times it jumps from 2022 to 2013. It depends how much traffic passes by the area. It tends to be remote rural areas don't receive the same attention or updates given by Google Earth, Google Street Cam, Streetcar, flybys. Though in the more populated, dense areas, urban areas, tourist places, capitals of countries, cities, towns, states, the lot. The popular, well-known places which are easier to reach are updated more frequently compared to the out-of-reach areas. So when you're looking at Oklahoma near to Terrell, it's probably not going to be updated as much, but just by coincidence, it was this time round, and a few things have changed. But at least when I was looking days ago before it was updated, I couldn't see any blood. And when looking now, I couldn't see any blood. So I would have to look on Google Earth Pro. If that's what this person's suggesting, the homeowner, okay, we'll see. But if they're directly mentioning Google Earth and not the Pro version, well, I don't know what they're talking about, unless back then in 2023, there was some alternative Street View imagery, which is no longer accessible. I don't know. Sometimes it tends to be blurred as well. When you look at the Idaho 4 case, Moscow, Idaho 4, Kings Road, the murder house is blurred out, and some other areas are blurred out because there were key pieces of evidence within the criminal investigation. Why has that not been applied to the Noah Presgrove case? Is it because it's not treated as a true criminal investigation? Right? Anyway, just let me know your thoughts so far by this homeowner by saying, may I suggest doing a quick search of Google Earth, you can see the spot in which some refer to as blood. Why do we need to see the spot? Why do we need to care so much about the blood? What's the context behind this? A little bit odd. The homeowner says, I guess everyone is entitled to keep their opinion, and I can't keep breaking down how to actually read an autopsy, regardless of how special needs it makes them appear. So, if you interpreted it in a certain way, this person's kind of being sarcastic, claiming anyone that struggles to read an autopsy report, despite this homeowner repeatedly making it clear to people, those who struggle are being labelled as having special needs. So it could be labelled as being autistic, labelled as Down syndrome, labelled as anything you could think of when it could come to issues with a person, maybe the mental capacity, maybe the cognitive impairment, whatever you want to call it, right? For an adult, a homeowner, to do with this case, tied with the case and a community of people that are worried and, you know, want to learn about the case, and I don't know, it might impact people harder than others. Some people are more emotional. For this homeowner to just outright call out people and say anyone that struggles in understanding has special needs sounds very childish, and some may consider quite inappropriate and rude and disrespectful. I mean, if it was said to me, I wouldn't get triggered by it, but I would be thinking, should you be saying that, okay? You're painting yourself in a negative light. You know, you're insulting people, and before that, you were also mentioning some other questionable things. Why on earth would this homeowner mention any of this? At the end of the day, when it comes to different cases, everybody learns in different ways. Some people pick up on the information quick. For others, it takes some time. It's like with the abbreviations and names. It's going to take me some time to remember them all because there's a lot of them, and I've only just got involved in the case. As for the autopsy report, granted, it was somewhat easy to access because if you go on the Daily Mail, it did outline it there. It showed the diagrams. It made it very clear. So, in a way, you could understand why the homeowner could be frustrated because it is there at one's fingertips and it is outlined very clearly. Yet, if there is a repetitive cycle and this homeowner has to keep explaining themselves, yeah, it can get frustrating. But to then lose control of the situation and just start name-calling people in general and generalising, it's not a good look. The easiest thing to do would be, anyone struggles to understand it or comprehend, just say to him, head on over to Daily Mail. You'll find it there, outlined, the lot. Or in other ways, if it's that bad or that annoying, as the homeowner, just don't respond to people. Ignore them. By being negative, it just makes you look like a worse person, right? Maybe this homeowner just doesn't care, but still, it's not doing anyone any favours. It's not helping the case, or it's not helping the people in the community. Okay, we haven't even got to the main part yet. It's a bit lower down, as you see highlighted in red. So I'll just read it from the top again. I guess everyone is entitled to keep their opinion, and I can't keep breaking down how to actually read an autopsy, regardless of how special needs it makes them appear. It's hard for me to take comments like yours seriously. My initial response wants to be, you're next. To be a smart arse, but I'm not sure you'd catch on to the sarcasm attached. So I'll just offer prayers for you as I feel you. Any offspring you may have laid or co-workers need it, please don't tell me you don't operate heavy machinery or tech or teach. The hell? What's that all about? See, we don't have the context of what was mentioned above in response, but, you know, it started off positive, saying, sorry to hear about your sister and what your dad had to endure. Whatever, tragedy in the past, maybe. But then to go on and then call out the same person who they showed sympathy towards, the homeowner says, it's hard for me to take comments like yours seriously. My initial response wants to be, you're next. Right, Besides the wrestler Goldberg that says, "You're next," that line used in general, in public, "you're next," sounds like you're next in line for something to happen. And depending how it's said, could be said with a negative tone or a negative undertone. In terms of how I infer from how it's worded here, despite the level of sarcasm as well, they're not doing themselves any favours. People interpret things differently, of course, and it depends how it's expressed to them too. Everyone sees things differently and picks up on it differently. But in general, it would be fair to say, by labelling someone, calling them out and saying, "You're next," and this just so happens to be in a case to do with a person, Noah Presgrove, that was possibly murdered, and it's homeowner being the one who owns the house where the party took place and where Noah was last seen, and possible suspects as well responsible, and rifles being stored in the house, and alcohol being supplied to minors. It's not a good look at the end of the day when you summarise the overall theme by saying "you're next" in a possible murder case. That really does no one any favours. This is the type of comment which would put you on the watch list. Maybe not literally in normal day-to-day life, but because of what this case involves, the death of someone, and by saying to another person, "you're next," it makes it sound like threatening language. But who you're labelling as "you're next," you, yourself, the homeowner, are going to kill someone. And if that was the case, then people would start thinking, well, if we look back to the last thing that was mentioned by them and their behaviour, and the last person that has died in the area, Noah Presgrove, well, is this homeowner responsible? They seem very vocal, don't they? It's weird. Now, yeah, they say about, but I'm not sure you'd catch on to the sarcasm attached. So what, this person is basically backtracking and saying everything that they've mentioned above is sarcastic, such as "you're next," such as anyone that can't deal with the autopsy or understand her special needs. I mean, what's the need to be so rude? Is it because this person's got to their breaking point? I mean, in all fairness, when it comes to Jack Newton, whether you think he's innocent or guilty, okay, he's probably been questioned quite a bit. And he has said, "Oh, I've had enough of this, I've had enough of that." But has he resorted to name-calling, insults, death threats? No. So he's got it a little bit more under control, and he's the one that was at the party that could have seen something, could have heard something, or maybe just oblivious, but had to see firsthand and hear about their best friend Noah dying and the brutality of it. Yet Jack has been able to hold it together better for the right or wrong reasons compared to this homeowner that has lost control on a few occasions now. So let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think this is appropriate from the homeowner within the Noah Presgrove case? I want to know your thoughts. Just zoom on out. Moving on to the next slide is a slightly older one. You'll be familiar with this if you've watched my videos recently. In case you haven't, I'll just read it out, okay? This is the same person as what you saw on the previous slide, the homeowner. So previously, the homeowner said, "So, all the kids at this party are guilty, huh? That include your niece, HW." I don't know who HW is. If anyone can mention it down below in the comments, that would be appreciated. The homeowner says, "'Cause she snuck out there, wasn't even invited." So HW wasn't invited. The homeowner says, "And I've got receipts as proof. I love that girl to death, but no wasn't like, hey, come on out. Another boy there invited her, not the homeowner. My daughter took her home. Was Dee Dee that night. Was like, hell no, your mum would kill me. Cops know that." I think DD means drunk driving. So, got her on mini mark cam, so story checks out. And you're right, I highly doubt a bunch of teens and young adults could leave no evidence behind. I mean, we know how meticulous drunks are. Nothing sloppy about someone intoxicated at all. So we see the theme of this person being sarcastic, the homeowner. The homeowner also says, lower down, "Oh, and trust me, if some of us horrible parents had been involved in the death of Noah Presgrove, there wouldn't be a body in question. You'd never have found anyone on the receiving end, and that is a fact. And yes, he's most certainly deserved better. This homeowner basically said that if they were responsible for killing Noah Presgrove, they would have done a better job at disposing of his body. Why on earth would you say that in a sensitive case, in a situation where it actually makes you look like the possible suspect? And the person doubled down in recent time by then going on this rant, as we've seen here, by saying to whoever in response, "You're next." You know, anyone that looks at it for the first time, you couldn't blame the general public for thinking, right, so this homeowner says, if I was responsible, I would have done a better job at disposing of Noah Presgrove. Then looks at the next comment by the homeowner that says, in response to someone online, "You're next." What? The next person's going to be the next Noah Presgrove and ends up in the same situation, the same fate as described by this homeowner. It sounds like they're dropping clues, hints, and using threatening language. It really is ridiculous, right? Now, how negatively impacted was this homeowner within the case? I mean, surely the kids, the friends of Noah Presgrove should, or you would normally think, those type of people who were there at the scene around Noah in the final moments and saw afterwards the outcome, normally those type of people who were on scene would be traumatized the most. But as we've seen with this exception, not as much emotion displayed. A bit too casual, right? Why is the homeowner, someone that wasn't even there at the time of the party nor the death of Noah, why is this person so pressed? Why is this person emotionally charged in a resistant, defensive way then? You know, this person is being more volatile than some of the people at the party was. And the people at the party were actually there. This person wasn't. So that's very interesting, that. Let me know your thoughts. As said, credit to Reddit. Let's take a look at some of the responses from people over there and see what they had to say about the situation. Here we are on the page, and if we just scroll on down, you can see the comments here. You saw the context given and the responses that follow. The person says, "This person is way too confident in writing their sarcasm on a public thread. I can't help but think that hubris will be their downfall." What does hubris mean? In response, "The comfort level does kill me." Lemon, SH is a total POWT. Piece of something. I don't know these abbreviations. Do people use abbreviations because of being censored if you use bad words or something, such as on Reddit? Maybe. So, SH, are they the initials of the homeowner? Can anyone confirm? Who is SH? What else? Appropriate says, "That seems like a threat. Do not give out any personal information." What does that mean? Do not give out personal information to that homeowner in case they hunt you down. "You're next" would scare the daylights out of me, and I would perceive it as a very real threat and move as far away as possible. Okay, fair enough. I mean, when it came to the Dylan Rounds case, years before the death of Dylan, when Dylan was around the killer, James Brenner, unknown to him back then, and the father of Dylan, Justin Rounds, got in a bit of a row or just simply spoke to Brenner in the wrong way. Brenner got triggered by it, and when Justin wasn't there, Brenner basically mumbled or, you know, spoke out loud when Dylan was nearby. Brenner saying, "Oh, I want to kill Justin. I'm going to kill him." They're serious threats. That's a death threat. Dylan heard it firsthand, but didn't take it that serious. And, you know, early red flag, missed out. Although Justin didn't get killed in the end, Dylan did. In this situation, for a person to say, "You're next" in a potential murder case, that really is, you know, it's ridiculous to think this has happened, right? You know, it's like you're making yourself the prime suspect on purpose. I don't know what the homeowner is actually doing, but it's a bit weird. In addition, it then says this big, phew, that woman has some balls on her. She's real cocky for someone who owns a home where minors were being served alcohol. Right, so this homeowner who's speaking is a female. What's her name? Does anyone have her name or initials? Is SH the name of this woman? Autumn, beyond cringe. Powerful says, people who post on Facebook pages about Noah, who aren't family or from the same town, saying they've lost sleep or could have saved him by creating scenarios, are cringy and frightening. It's normal to offer support and want justice, but to express such strong emotions without having ever met him, seriously? People die every day, it's terrible, but some cases on the internet become an obsession, and that's scary. So, what do I have to say in response to that? I can understand where this person is coming from. See, this is the thing. Now, I can't relate in this way because I'm not like other people. So when it does come to cases, sad cases, extreme cases, whatever you want to call it, true crime or not, missing person or not, when I go in and cover it, I'm interested in the case, but I'm not emotionally connected to the victim. So my judgment isn't blinded. And with not being over emotional, I can think clearly, right? My thoughts don't get in the way of trying to learn about the case and make sense of it. Though I have been on the receiving end of a lot of over-emotional, emotionally charged individuals, maybe of a certain gender, who just so happen to relate to the case more or to the victim, and it touches their heart. And whilst it could be genuine emotions expressed, those over-emotional people can get in the way of me because they don't see things the same way. They're not realistic, and at times they can be a bit delusional. So because I'm not emotionally connected to a case, I can look at the dark reality clearer. I might be more sharper. So when that is revealed to the emotional people who are touched by the case or the victim, they won't be able to comprehend or accept it. They may get defensive. They may start acting like a wailing banshee, and it's problematic. That's from my experience, okay? When I covered the Dylan Rounds case, when I covered the Kenny Veach case. It is annoying, but if humans relate to the case or the victim, it is what it is, for whatever reason that may be, right? It's like if like a young male or like a young female has been killed or passed away, you might get a wave of strangers who have daughters of their own, sons of their own, or maybe once did, and the same fate happens to them as this story, so they relate to it. So you can understand the emotions there. From the point of view of the family, and this is the thing, this situation isn't even to do with the family. This is to do with the home owner being all defensive and resistant. But when it comes to a situation of a family, just like with the Dylan Brown's case, Candice Cooley, Justin Rounds, a lot of people out there feel touched by the case, by the victim, and the emotions, the care and the worry and concern expressed has been appreciated by the Cooley and Rounds family. They appreciate it. They like it. What they don't like is when people cause misinformation and damage on the case and start witch hunts. That's not a level of care. That's just a level of outright sabotage. So you could understand that. That's common sense. But in other cases, what I've seen, when people are concerned, worried, scared, sad or upset, even if it's not their own and they're not even within the case, the family tends to appreciate it. Here, I'm not sure what the situation is with Noah Presgrove's family, whether they appreciate over-emotional people or not. But in terms of this homeowner, they can't seem to stand those type of people. Interesting. Is this female homeowner one of those hard-faced individuals or so? I wonder. Do I think that emotional people who feel connected to a case are cringy and have an obsession? I mean, it depends how long they're connected with the case for. I mean, if they're around for a long time, but they don't cause any trouble, it's not a problem, right? As for an obsession, I mean, I've been called out. I've been labelled as obsessed with cases, and that's only because I was covering a case for a long time because there was a lot to talk about. So if consistency, frequency, dedication equals obsessions in a negative undertone, then I guess it is why it is, right? And that doesn't even apply to an individual like me who's emotionally connected, because I'm not, and yet I'm still labelled that. So other people have no chance then in terms of how they're labelled. Anyway, moving on. Autumn says, it's so wild. I'm not on Facebook, so I really appreciate the updates and screenshots that are on here. But the tone in so many of these is very shocking to me. It's a very small town mentality, you know? Like, they always get their way and consequences don't apply to them. If you was reading this for the first time at the time of when the Dylan Rounds case came about, it kind of sounds very similar. Because the Dylan Rounds case, what was the closest town? Montello, Nevada. About 20, 30 miles away. Small town, news gets about. Some bad eggs, others okay, but gossip in between. Bit of a disaster, bit of a shit show. People in Lucin, though, even smaller community, very small. Not much talk, not much movement. Yeah, interesting. Anyway, this person says, very small town mentality. I remember thinking as a kid, adults act like adults, but the older I get, the more I see behaviour that is a contradiction. Yeah, true. The empathy and compassion most of us are here to give can get easily lost amongst the drama. Yeah, so that's the other thing. When it comes to people who may be emotionally connected to a case or victim, they can be very defensive of that person. So if another human comes on in with criticism or possible facts or information which paints the victim as a negative, bad person, or, I don't know, the mock to something, those people full of emotions will defend the victim and snap back against the other humans, and that's what causes the drama, just because of maybe a misunderstanding or disagreeing with possible facts. So that's what happens there. Anyway. Although we don't have all the facts and details of this case, it seems to me that any guilty participants on whatever level have supplied enough rope. Yes, so they dug themselves into a hole. Those that could be people of interest. People agree? Agreed. Wow. And last but not least, did anyone try to see the blood spot on Google Earth? What a weird thing to say. Exactly. Unless it was only said in response to the person the homeowner was responding to because they asked about it. So then the homeowner decided to respond back and answer the question, maybe. But still, by searching the blood spot lemon, I did check. It's not there. And that applies to a few days ago, and it also applies to right now, updated new satellite imagery. As for Google Earth Pro, I'll need to take a look at that. That's kind of pending. Now, the final thing to highlight what I came across on Facebook there, and it might have been reposted on Reddit. I'll have to look back there. Just a bit of a miscellaneous comment out of interest if anyone wants to see. This is on Justice for Noah Presgrove. Not Noah Presgrove's Army, but the Justice for Noah Presgrove, which I believe is the official page in which the family are on. Kind of interesting. And what's mentioned here, Robin Smith, middle of the screen, just zoom on in. Correct me if I'm wrong, is Robin Smith the aunt of Noah Presgrove? I remember hearing the name Robin mentioned before, but I don't know about the last name. Robin Smith says, the first official on the scene was a Tyrrell volunteer firefighter, AC's grandfather, Bub Wilcoxon. To be specific, another VFF on scene is related to JM. Interesting, right? Definitely a small town. People know one another. Now, just break it down a little bit more. AC. Who is AC? Avery Combs. The other family member there would be CC, Carter Combs. I believe 2 females. If anyone can answer it as well, down below, it would be appreciated. What's the connection between Avery Combs and Carter Combs? Are they sisters? Or what? If anyone can explain, I appreciate that. But Avery Combs' grandfather, called Bub Wilcoxon, was the first official on scene. And another VFF, whatever that means, at the scene was related to JM. JM being Jack, isn't it? No, it isn't. No, it's not. Actually, I don't know who JM is. See, this is what I mean. I get really mixed up with the abbreviations. Jack Newton is JN, but this is JM, not N, but M. Probably sounds the same when I pronounce it. Apologies about that. Unless it was a mistype, I'm not too sure. Below, Leah says JN told several people at 5:15 that Noah was dead, according to Carter Combs. Well, I think that might be... That won't be correct, that, because it said the first person at the scene to come across the body was a truck driver, and that was at 5:30, or was it 5:50? 5:50? And then 6:05 was when Noah went down to check. JN, Jack Newton, was saying how around 4 in the morning, though, that's when Noah passed away. Anyway, just a bit of context there. I might try and include it in the title. Just basically the first official at the scene. And I'm assuming at the scene being where the body was found on the highway. I mean, if AC or CC are responsible or know something, and some of their family members and connections could also be in on it or assisting and helping and covering things up, the corruption could run very deep. And with it being a small town and people knowing one another, people may know how to keep quiet. Tight-knit community, who knows? As I said, nothing fully confirmed, just theories, ideas at this moment in time. If it can be debunked with time or maybe reinforced, I guess we'll see. But I think we'll leave it there for now. Be sure to share this video. Let me know what you think of the matter and the homeowner, their attitude. See you next time. Goodbye, good night for now.